Morning. We're good, 9 till. We're ready. Will everyone please rise for the presentation of the colors by the FDNY Color Guard?
Detail, hands. Ten hook.
Please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by firefighter Frank Pizarro.
Detail, and salute.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ready, two.
Thank you, Frank. Please remain standing as FDNY Chaplain Reverend Stephen Harding delivers the invocation.
Detail, uncover.
Almighty God, we are gathered before you and with each other to honor members of our department who have acted with great courage to save lives in the midst of extreme conditions. We thank you for their actions, which have resulted in families being reunited and loss prevented. We thank you for their training and for their companies who created the environments for them to be successful. We thank you that they're safe. We thank you too, Lord, for the people who were saved, and ask that you be with them and their families as they are able to continue their lives with each other. We give you thanks too, Lord, for the men and women of the 69th Infantry Regiment, for their hospitality to us. We ask that you watch over them and all the members of our armed forces and keep them safe. And now, Lord, we ask that you be with us as we celebrate the dedication, focus, and resolve of our department to serve others through the accomplishments of our members who we honor this day. And all this we ask in your name. Amen.
Detail, Rico.
Thank you, Reverend Harding. Please retire the colors. Please be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Galla. I'm the Chief of Personnel, and it's an honor to serve as Master of Ceremonies on such a proud day for this department. On behalf of Mayor de Blasio, Fire Commissioner Cassano, Chief of Department Kilduff, the Fire and EMS staff chiefs, union officials, and department executive staff, I'd like to welcome you all to today's FDNY Medal Day Ceremonies. A special welcome to all of today's medal winners. You make us proud. We're also honored to have a number of medal donors as well as families of medal recipients joining us. Welcome all. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce our first speaker, the Mayor of the City of New York, Bill de Blasio.
Thank you. Let's thank Battalion Chief Michael Galla, Jr. for being a great MC. And let's thank our host. This is a place that reminds us of bravery over generations. Let's thank our host, Major Sean Flynn, the commanding officer, 1st Battalion, 69th Infantry. Thank you so much for having us here today. I'm going to talk in a moment about two extraordinary men, our Commissioner Sal Cassano, our incoming Commissioner Dan Nigro. But first I want to thank all the other leaders here on the stage who lead this department, including the First Deputy Commissioner Don Shacknai, our Chief of Department Edward Kilduff, all of the Deputy Commissioners, Chief. Thank them all for what they do for this city. And to the leaders of the unions that represent the hardworking men and women of this department, I want to thank them for their leadership, for working with me every day to try and help make this city run better. I want to thank Steve Cassidy, the president of the Uniform Firefighters Association, UFA, Al Hagan, the president of the UFOA, Vincent Variali, the president of the Uniform EMS Officers Union, and Izzy Miranda, the president of the Uniform EMTs, Paramedics, and Fire Inspectors. Thank them all for their leadership. This is the 145th Medal Day. It gives you a sense of the extraordinary history, tradition, continuity of this department. Let me give you another example, and it's one I think that really says what's possible from the men and women who serve in this department. I want to talk to you, as I did yesterday, with our graduating class. I talked to the probies about the class of 1969. Class of 1969 produced a lot of extraordinary leaders. Two of them are here. Man who has led us through these recent years. They've been tough and challenging years. He has served this department so well on so many tough days, including 9/11. He's seen us through to a much stronger future, and I want to thank him on behalf of the people of New York City for what he has done for all of us. Commissioner Sal Cassano, let's thank him for all he has done. Now, just to convince everyone that life is long, and remember the people you meet along the way, because they will remain your friends and colleagues for life. Sitting next to Commissioner Cassano is incoming Commissioner Dan Nigro. Guess what? Class of 1969. They graduated together, and Dan has also been an extraordinary leader of this department through so much of the tough times in the 1970s when so much of the city was burning. On 9/11, Dan was chief of operations. He lost his dear friend Pete Gansey and had to assume his role as chief of department and see us through that extraordinarily difficult moment and the aftermath. He's now coming back as our commissioner. Let's thank Dan Nigro for all he does. Now this year, we paid tribute to some people who are the very best among us, who are an example, not just to the men and women of the fire department, but to all of us of what heroism is, what service to others is, what strength is, what courage is. Every day, the men and women of this department face uncertainty, and you do it with extraordinary professionalism. And we honor and appreciate every member of this department for what you do for all of us. Some do things that are so extraordinary, we make sure to regularly note them and thank them and commend them and hold them up as the examples that they are. I want to talk about just a few to give you the flavor of these extraordinary individuals. Lieutenant Robert Lee is the recipient of the James Gordon Bennett Medal this year, the highest award presented today. Lieutenant Lee entered an apartment building in the Bronx, flames rapidly engulfing the building. He led the members of Ladder 47 into an apartment where several occupants were trapped. High heat, heavy smoke, thick flames, zero visibility. And Lieutenant Lee directed the search, even without the protection of a hose line. He led people forward. He led the firefighters forward. Debris falling, the situation deteriorating. This is truly when an individual is tested. Undaunted, unwavering, Lieutenant Lee personally rescued 2 people that day and then re-entered the burning apartment twice more. Thanks to his cool-headed leadership, a 3rd was saved. It is an extraordinary story. Let's thank Lieutenant Lee right now for all he has done. That's one story. There are 65 medals today. Each of them represent an extraordinary accomplishment, an extraordinary story. I want to only mention 2 other examples that are powerful and really indicative of what this whole group of extraordinary individuals has achieved. Firefighter Vincent Musacchio, I'm going to get my heritage on here, Musacchio, has accomplished the very rare feat of being awarded 2 medals today. One for single-handedly entering a raging inferno to rescue a man, and then on a different occasion, using his own body to shield an unconscious man from fierce flames that were about to engulf him. 2 medals for 2 heroic achievements. Let's thank firefighter Musacchio. And this last story, this is courage under the most adverse circumstances. The winner today of the highest EMS award presented is emergency medical technician Brendan Hernandez. Brendan wrestled a gun away from a violent patient who had already shot a police officer. Brendan managed single-handedly to get that gun away and end the threat. And that is heroism in a tough situation. Let's thank Brendan for what he has done for all of us. There is a quote that really captures what today is about. The ancient Greek historian Thucydides, he wrote, "The bravest are surely those who have the clearest vision of what is before them, glory and danger alike, and yet, notwithstanding, go out to meet it." This is the caliber of the individuals before us today. They went out to meet danger, they stared it down, they came back alive, they saved others. On behalf of all 8.4 million New Yorkers, we say thank you and God bless you all for what you have done for this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor de Blasio. Our next speaker, our Fire Commissioner, Salvatore Cassano.
Thank you, Michael. So this is unusual. I used to have to raise the mic. Now I have to lower it. So that's pretty good. To our medal recipients, welcome to you and your families and friends, and everyone in uniform who has come to celebrate with you today. For the families, I know how exciting it is to see firsthand your loved ones honored for their remarkable heroism. We know how proud you are, and you should know how very proud we are in the department of the brave work they've done for the city and for their fellow firefighters and EMS and paramedics. Medal Day is a great day. It's the best day of the year for the department, because not only are we celebrating the extraordinary life-saving measures of our medal recipients, we're celebrating the great work that our firefighters and EMS paramedics and EMTs do every day and are doing it right now. I want to thank our gracious host, Battalion Commander Sean Flynn, the Fighting 69th, and the Executive Officer, Major Matt Kilgore, who are here with us today, for allowing us again, once again, to use this beautiful armory. When you look at the armory and you see our flags alongside the flags of the 69th, it sends a message to the members of our department and to the military that we are bonded like never before. So I want to give a round of applause to the Fighting 69th and to all the men and women serving around the world to keep us safe. Medal Day has always been a cause of celebration, while at the same time serving as a reminder of the very difficult and dangerous work that we do. For the last 45 years of my life, I've had the privilege of being part of Medal Day that dates almost as long as the department. First as a firefighter and then a fire officer, I came to Medal Day witnessed by my fellow firefighters, lieutenants and captains, and chiefs who are going to receive well-deserved praise for their actions. When someone you closely know is recognized on Medal Day, you see, it's not only an important moment for the individual, it's a source of pride for the entire firehouse and EMS station as well. It reflects on his or her outstanding efforts, as well as the team it took to perform that act, the hours and hours of training that allow us to do our work as well as we do. And we do that as a team. Many years later, as the chief of department, and the past 5 years, 4.5 years as the commissioner, I've had the honor of officiating at this great ceremony, shaking the hands of individuals whose brave service upheld the traditions of this department. To take part in this event for so many years has been a proud moment. And to do so as the commissioner is something I will always cherish. Standing in front of decorated members of this department is truly inspiring, because this group does not know how to quit until the job is done. Look no further than this year's Gordon Bennell recipient. The mayor mentioned Lieutenant Robert Lee of 47 Truck and the tremendous actions that he took to save someone's life. The tenacity that Lieutenant Lee exhibited is kind of the tremendous dedication that it takes to do this job. Every day, FDNY members are faced with dangerous, life-threatening situations and make a difference. And as the mayor mentioned, the EMT Brendan Handers, who is receiving the Prescott Medal. Tremendous job by Brendan, coming to the aid of police officers in need. This year is a special year for us in that we're honoring one of our newest members, firefighter Ryan Blackwell of Engine 62, the recipient of the firefighter Thomas A. Wiley Medal. And it's ironic that firefighter Wiley's nephew was sworn in yesterday, and the class before that, Tommy's son was sworn in. By rescuing a victim last September, Ryan not only upheld the greatest traditions of this department, he honored his firefighter father, Chris Blackwell of Rescue 3, who made the supreme sacrifice on September 11th at the World Trade Center. When we see a story like this, where one of our newest members rises to the occasion so early in his or her career, I know that the future of this department is in great hands. I know we're all moving forward, training the next generation as well, and securing the future of this job. Just yesterday, we swore in 286 new probationary firefighters from the Academy. And tomorrow, we're going to promote another 124 members who are taking the next step in their career. And there are more than 14,000 firefighters, paramedics, and EMTs, just like the members I've mentioned, who are ready to step up and answer the challenges that we face every day. In the few days left that I have with this great department, I've been so honored and proud to lead this department because of the exceptional work that you do every day to keep our city, our citizens, and ourselves safe. There's no group of men and women quite like the members of the FDNY. You fight your way past fire to save civilians that you don't know. You venture into very dangerous situations to provide unrivaled medical care. And you put yourself directly in harm's way to rescue people that you have no idea who they are and may never see again. No one ceremony can truly capture that tradition. And we never know how many lives we've saved or how many lives we've touched. But make no mistake about it, nobody does it better than us. Thank you for all the work you do. Thank you for upholding the greatest traditions of this department. Selflessness, service, honor, sacrifice, bravery. Remember this day and cherish it. Cherish every day you spend in this great department. It's the best job in the world. Some of the finest people I've ever met who have ever wore any kind of uniform, wore the uniform of the FDNY. Congratulations to our medal winners and their families. Keep up the outstanding work. Continue to make us proud and stay safe.
Thank you, Commissioner Cassano. Now let's give out some medals. I'll ask the ceremonial officer to escort the mayor, the fire commissioner, and the chief of department to the area in front of the stage. Ready, Joe? And here we go. Our first medal, the James Gordon Bennett Medal, is being awarded to Lieutenant Robert E. Lee, Hook and Ladder 47, the Castle Hill Knights. In the morning of October 28, 2013, Ladder 47 responded second due truck for reported fire on Taylor Avenue in the Soundview section of the Bronx. On arrival, heavy fire was blown out the basement windows with reports of people trapped. Lieutenant Lee led his forcible entry team to the floor above the fire. Making his way to a rear bedroom, he found the door blocked by furniture. Lieutenant Lee squeezed through the bedroom door, finding an unconscious adult female. He transmitted 1045 and dragged the victim down the hall onto the sidewalk where members began medical care. Lieutenant Lee re-entered the building a second time, finding an unconscious female in the same bedroom. Lieutenant Lee operated under extreme and challenging fire conditions without the benefit of a charged hose line in a deteriorating environment. For his unwavering courage and bravery in saving 2 lives, we are proud to award the James Gordon Bennett Medal to Lieutenant Robert E. Lee, Hook and Ladder 47, Engine 64, the Castle Hill Knights. Our next medal, the Brooklyn Citizen Medal, Firefighter Louis Valentino Award, is being awarded to Firefighter Harry Pfeiffer, Tower Ladder 146, the Thunderbolts. And on the morning of March 3rd, 2013, Tower Ladder 146 responded first due to a reported building fire on Meeker Avenue in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn. On arrival, they were met with a heavy fire condition in a 1-story auto body shop with a confirmed report of a worker trapped. Firefighter Pfeiffer, part of the forcible entry team, working off a search rope and using the thermal imaging camera, located the victim in the rear of the shop. Firefighter Pfeiffer dragged the unconscious victim through maze-like conditions and a heavy fire to the safety of the street. For his heroic action at personal risk, we bestow the Brooklyn Citizens Medal on Firefighter Harry Pfeiffer, Tower Ladder 146, Engine 229, the Thunderbolts. Our next medal, the Christopher J. Prescott Medal, is being awarded to EMT Brendan Hernandez, EMS Station 16 in Harlem. Where on June 10, 2013, EMTs Brendan Hernandez and Gene Altador had treated and transported an emotionally disturbed person to Harlem Hospital with an NYPD escort. Once at the hospital, EMT Hernandez remained with his ambulance as EMT Altador and the NYPD officers escorted the patient inside. Seconds later, EMT Hernandez heard gunfire and bolted towards the emergency room. The patient had become combative, removed the officer's gun, and shot the NYPD officer. During the ensuing struggle, EMT Hernandez was able to pry the firearm from the patient's hand, and his partner and remaining officer subdued the patient. For his courage and quick thinking while risking his life to save his partner, NYPD officers, and innocent bystanders, we are proud to bestow the Christopher J. Prescott Medal on EMT Brendan Hernandez, Station 16 up in Harlem. Our next medal, the U. Bonner Medal, Honor Legion Medal, is being awarded to firefighter Vincent Masaccio, Hook and Ladder 32, the Gun Hill Gang. Where on the morning of May 31st, 2013, Hook and Ladder 32 responded first due to a private dwelling fire on East 209th Street in the Williamsburg section of the Bronx. On arrival, heavy smoke and fire was observed. Fireman Masaccio, the OVM, made his way to the rear where 2 occupants told him a man was trapped inside. Firefighter Masaccio, crawling under the flames, made his way to a rear bedroom where, under rapidly deteriorating conditions, he found an unconscious adult male. Using all his strength, he was able to remove the victim from the fire building and to safety. For his bravery, courage, and tenacity, and reaching and removing the victim, we are proud to award the U. Bonner Medal, Honor Legion Medal, to firefighter Vincent Masaccio, Hook and Ladder 32, Engine 62, the Gun Hill Gang. Our next medal, the Emily Trevor Mary B. Warren Medal, is being awarded to Lieutenant Jonathan Shields, Tower Ladder 7, the pride of the East Side. Where on the morning of April 3rd, 2013, 7 truck responded first due for reported multiple dwelling fire on East 34th Street in Midtown Manhattan. Arriving at the 5th floor apartment, Lieutenant Shields noticed peeling paint and smoke pushing from apartment 5D. As his forcible entry team forced the door, they were met with high heat and Kaya's mansion conditions. Lieutenant Shields, crawling under the fire, was able to locate an unconscious male in the rear of the apartment. With rubbish piled 3 feet high, Lieutenant Shields was able to remove the victim from the apartment. For his act of personal bravery, we are proud to award Lieutenant Jonathan Shields, Gamily Trevor, Mary B. Warren Medal. Jonathan Shields, Tower Ladder 7, Engine 16, the Pride of the East Side. Our next medal is the Thomas E. Crimmins Medal, being awarded to Captain James Elson, Rescue Company Number 3, Big Blue. We're on the morning hours of October 28, 2013. Rescue 3 responded to a confirmed working fire on Taylor Avenue in the Soundview section of the Bronx. Upon arrival, units found an intense basement fire. Several civilians had jumped from upper windows, and the reports of civilians trapped inside. Captain Elson, with his forcible entry team, began searching the floor above the fire. Negotiating maze-like conditions in the rear bedroom, he located a female child wedged between 2 beds. Using all his strength, he was able to free the child and, through zero visibility, remove her from horrendous conditions and to the safety of the street, awaiting EMS personnel. A young girl is alive today due to the bravery of Captain James Elson, and we proudly bestow the Thomas E. Crimmins Medal upon him. Captain Jimmy Elson, Rescue Company Number 3, Big Blue. Our next medal is the Thomas A. Kenny Memorial Medal, being awarded to firefighter Eugene Squires, Tower Ladder 13, the Pride of Yorkville. Where just after midnight on November 27, 2012, Tower Ladder 13 responded to a multiple dwelling fire on Manhattan's Upper East Side. Arriving first due, they were confronted with a fire on the 5th floor with a confirmed woman trapped. Firefighter Squires with his iron team forced entry into the apartment and was met with Kaya's Mansion-type conditions. Making his way to the rear of the apartment, he found the victim, who was about to jump out of the 5th floor window to escape the heat. Shielding her with his body, he removed the woman from the apartment to the safety of the street and awaiting EMS personnel. For his act of bravery in saving a life, we award firefighter Eugene Squires the Thomas A. Kenny Memorial Medal. Gene Squires, Tower Ladder 13. Engine 22, Battalion 10, the Pride of Yorkville. Our next medal, the Walter Scott Medal. Again, firefighter Vincent Masaccio, Hook and Ladder 32. Okay. We'll come back to him. Our next medal, the John Prentice Medal, being awarded to Lieutenant William Butler, Hook and Ladder 56, the House of Hate. On the evening of December 19th, 2013, 56 truck responded first due to a fire on Grand Concourse in the Bedford Park section of the Bronx. On arrival, fire was showing from 2 top-floor windows of this large apartment building. As his forcible entry team gained access to the fire apartment, they were met with high heat conditions and dense smoke. As they began their search, an unconscious victim was found, and Lieutenant Butler assisted in his removal. Lieutenant Butler then re-entered the apartment, crawling under an intensifying fire, and found a second victim. Through Kaya's Mansion-like conditions, Lieutenant Butler removed the second victim to the hallway and awaiting EMS personnel. For this heroic act of bravery at personal risk, we proudly bestow the John H. Prentice Medal upon Lieutenant William Butler, Hook and Ladder 56, Engine 48, Division 7. Is Masaccio coming up for another medal? Our next medal, the Henry D. Brookman Medal, being awarded to Captain Joseph McCannon, Tower Ladder 46, the Pride of Kingsbridge. Where in the early morning hours of February 9, 2013, Tower Ladder 46 responded to a multiple dwelling fire with reports of a disabled man trapped inside. Upon arrival, they were met with fire shooting from 2 first-floor windows. Under his supervision, the apartment door was forced and Captain McCannon began his search under zero visibility and high heat conditions. Using his sense of touch, he discovered an unconscious 67-year-old male. Captain McCannon dragged the victim out of the apartment under rapidly deteriorating conditions. Once removed, the victim was turned over to EMS personnel. For putting his own life at risk, we are proud to award Captain Joe McCannon the Henry D. Brookman Medal, 46 truck, 81 engine, the Pride of Kingsbridge. Our next medal, the Chief Ulysses Grant Leadership Medal, is being awarded to EMS Lieutenant Rafael Goyenechea of the Hashtag Battalion. Where on the evening of March 13, 2013, EMS Lieutenant Rafael Goyenechea responded to a reported victim trapped inside Manhattan 2nd Avenue train tunnel, 75 feet below ground. On arrival, he operated as the Rescue Medic Task Force officer and established patient contact after descending multiple ladders and catwalks. When he reached the patient, a construction worker who became lodged in mud, he rapidly performed a rapid patient assessment. The worker was pinned and hypothermia was setting in. Lieutenant Goyenechea wrapped the victim with warming blankets, provided patient care, and established a safe area where he could operate. After 4 hours, the victim was finally freed from the grips of the slurry. Lieutenant Goyenechea battled the slurry, provided life-saving treatment, and protected his members during an extremely difficult extrication. For his bravery and exemplary command presence, we proudly bestow the Chief Ulysses Grant Leadership Medal on EMS Lieutenant Rafael Goyenechea. Our next medal, the M.J. Delahanty Medal, is being awarded to Captain Robert Reinhardt, Tower Ladder 152, the Utopia Express. Where in the early morning hours of April 1st, 2013, 152 truck responded first due to a private dwelling fire on 65th Avenue in the Fresh Metal section of Queens. Upon arrival, they were met by heavy fire on the 2nd floor. Captain Reinhardt began a search of the rear bedrooms where he encountered a male victim. As Engine 299 began knocking down the fire, Captain Reinhardt, using his body as a shield, removed the boy from the apartment and to the safety of the street. For his act of bravery, this young man is alive, and we award Captain Robert Reinhardt with the M.J. Delahanty Medal. Robert Reinhardt, 299, 152, the Utopia Express. Our next medal, the William F. Conrad Medal, being awarded to firefighter William Harrell, Hook and Ladder 47, the Castle Hill Knights. Where in the early morning hours of October 28, 2013, 47 truck responded as the second due truck for reported private dwelling fire on Taylor Avenue in the Soundview section of the Bronx. Upon arrival, heavy fire was blowing out of several basement windows with reports of persons trapped inside. Firefighter Harrell, part of the forcible entry team, made their way to the floor above the fire. Making his way into the apartment, he assisted Lieutenant Lee with the removal of one victim. Returning back to the apartment, he found an additional victim in the rear bedroom. Under high heat and zero visibility, firefighter Harrell removed his second victim to safety. Due to this personal act of bravery, firefighter William Harrell is awarded the William F. Conrad Medal. William Harrell, Hook and Ladder 47, Engine 64, the Castle Hill Knights. Our next medal, the Mayor Fiorello H. LaGuardia Medal, being awarded to firefighter Edward Sanchez, Rescue Company Number 4. Where in the early morning hours of October 7, 2013, Engine 292 and Rescue 4 responded to a private dwelling fire on 74th Street in the Woodside section of Queens. Heavy fire was shown from the first floor windows with a report of a confirmed woman trapped above the fire. Firefighter Sanchez passed 2 rooms of fire to access the interior stairs to the second floor. Under heavy heat and smoke conditions, he began his search, eventually finding an unconscious female. Using all his strength, he was able to remove the victim from the fire building along with firefighter Joe Matz of 154 truck. For his act of bravery, as well as the ability to adjust and adapt to changing conditions, we proudly award firefighter Edward Sanchez the Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia Medal, Rescue Company 4, 292. Next medal, the John J. McElliott Medal, Firefighters Fitzpatrick and Frisbee Award, being awarded to firefighter Christopher Macri, hook and ladder 56. Where on the evening of December 19, 2013, ladder 56 responded first due to a working fire at 2700 to Grand Concourse in the Bedford Park section of the Bronx. On arrival, fire was shown from 2 windows on the top floor. Firefighter Macri, the Irons firefighter, raced to the 5th floor and began forcing entry to the fire apartment. Once inside, firefighter Macri found Colliers Mansion-type conditions, and while crawling under an extending fire, he found the first of 2 victims. With the victim pinned beneath debris, firefighter Macri, with the assistance of Lieutenant Butler, was able to extricate the male. Firefighter Macri shielded the victim from the high heat as he removed him from the burning apartment. For his actions in finding 1 victim, then assisting in the removal of a second, firefighter Christopher Macri is awarded the Chief John J. McElliott Medal, Firefighter Fitzpatrick and Frisbee Award. Chris Macri, hook and ladder 56, Engine 48, Division 7. Our next medal, the Thomas F. Doherty Medal, is being awarded to firefighter Justin Pelka, hook and ladder 43, El Barrios Bravest. Where on the morning of November 8, 2013, ladder 43 responded first due to report a building fire on Lexington Avenue in the Spanish Harlem section of Manhattan. On arrival, they were confronted with a fire on the 8th floor of an 18-story fireproof MD with reports of children trapped. Upon reaching the fire floor, ladder 43 was confronted with a high heat and smoke in a public hall. Firefighter Pelka found the fire apartment, and after passing 2 rooms of fire, he found an unconscious and burnt adult male in a rear bedroom. Without a hose line to protect him, he proceeded to drag the victim out of the fire apartment and into the hands of a CFR engine who initiated medical treatment. 2 additional victims were removed by 43 truck, and for his act of bravery at personal risk, we're proud to award firefighter Justin Pelka the Thomas F. Doherty Medal, 43 truck, 53 engine, El Barrios Bravest. Our next medal is the Albert S. Johnston Medal, being awarded to Captain Christopher Isa, Tower Ladder 120, where the tradition continues. And in the early morning hours of July 6, 2013, Tower Ladder 120 responded to a reported structural fire at 373 Blake Avenue in the Brownsville section of Brooklyn. Upon arrival, there was fire on the 2nd floor of a 3-story MD with reports of children trapped. Making his way to the fire apartment, Captain Isaac began his search looking for the victims. In zero visibility, Captain Isaac came upon an unconscious young girl and transmitted a 1045. He then came upon an unconscious male and transmitted a second 1045. With the assistance of his inside team, Captain Isaac removed both children to the street and awaiting EMS personnel. For his act of bravery at personal risk and saving 2 lives, the FDNY awards Captain Christopher Isa the Albert S. Johnston Medal. 231, 120, the 4th Battalion, where the tradition continues. Our next medal, the Near Tamid Society Franklin Delano Roosevelt Medal, is being awarded to firefighter Jose Ortiz, hook and ladder 6, the Dragon Fighters. Where on the morning of February 24, 2013, firefighter Jose Ortiz was washing the apparatus of ladder 6 in front of quarters at 72 Canal Street when he heard a woman screams for help across the street. He observed a male dragging a woman down the street and quickly turned out the companies. As firefighter Ortiz ran to assist the woman, the man pulled out a meat cleaver and began to strike the woman. Firefighter Ortez, with the assistance of firefighter Trainer, tackled and subdued the male, holding him until police arrived. The victim was treated by Engine 9 and transported to a local hospital. Due to his fearless act of bravery and quick instinct, the woman survived her injuries, and we proudly award firefighter Jose Ortez the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Medal, Near Damage Society Medal, Hook and Ladder 6, Engine Company 9, the Dragon Fighters. Our next award, the Tracy Allen Lee Medal, being awarded to EMTs Justin P. O'Grady and EMT Francis Vasquez, Station 26, the Tin House of the Bronx. We're on the evening of October 9, 2013. EMTs Justin O'Grady and Francisco Vasquez, assigned to Station 26, were assisting a patient in the Hunts Point section of the Bronx. While evaluating the patient who was refusing medical aid, they noticed an NYPD police officer in need of assistance. The police officer, working alone, was struggling to subdue a suspect who was attempting to take away his firearm. The officer lost his radio and couldn't call for help. After quickly requesting PD assistance, EMTs O'Grady and Vasquez ran to the officer's aid and quickly tackled the suspect so the officer could handcuff him. Because of their personal act of bravery, the officer only suffered minor injuries. We are proud to award the Tracy Allen Lee Medal to EMTs Justin P. O'Grady and EMT Francis Vasquez, Station 26, the Tin House of the Bronx. Justin O'Grady, Francis Vasquez. Our next medal, the Third Alarm Association Medal, being awarded to Firefighter James Trainer Jr., Engine Company 15, Pitt Street. On the morning of February 24, 2013, Firefighter James Trainer of Engine 15, detailed to Engine 9, was in front of the quarters of Engine 9 on Canal Street when he heard a woman screaming for help. He observed a male dragging a woman down Canal Street wielding a meat cleaver. After quickly turning out the company's firefighter Trainer and Ortiz ran to assist the woman. Firefighter Trainer and Ortiz tackled the suspect, subduing him and holding him until police department arrived. The victim was treated by Engine 9 and transported to a local hospital. Due to his quick actions and bravery, the woman is alive, and we proudly bestow the Third Alarm Associate Medal to Firefighter James Trainer Jr., Engine 15, Tower Ladder 18, Battalion 4, Fort Pitt. Our next medal, the Vincent J. Kane Medal, is being awarded to Firefighter Christopher Slow, Hook and Ladder 11, Los Bombardos Primero. Where on the afternoon of November 10th, 11 truck responded to a fire in a high-rise multiple dwelling on Avenue D in the Alphabet section of Manhattan. Upon arrival, they found fire on the 8th floor of this 14-story multiple dwelling. Forcing entry into the fire apartment, firefighter Slow quickly began to search under high heat and zero visibility. Passing the fire room, he began searching a rear bedroom where he located an unconscious adult male lying on a bed. Firefighter Slow dragged the victim off the bed, down the hall to the safety of the floor below the fire, where the victim was transferred to awaiting EMS personnel for medical care. For his act of bravery at personal risk, the Vincent J. Kane Medal is awarded to Firefighter Christopher Slow, Hook and Ladder 11, Engine 28, Los Bombardos Primero. Our next medal is the Brummer Medal. It's being awarded to Firefighter Martin Murphy, Tower Ladder 58, the Vice Guys. Where on the afternoon of June 10, 2012, Tower Ladder 58 responded first due to a fire in a multiple dwelling at 1705 Bryant Avenue in the West Farm section of the Bronx. Upon arrival, they were confronted with an apartment fire on the 5th floor. Firefighter Murphy, the Irons firefighter, began his search under severe heat and smoke conditions. As he crawled through the apartment, he found an unconscious and burnt male. Using all his strength, he pulled the victim down the apartment hall and into the public hall. With additional assistance from Ladder 58 members, the victim was removed to the floor below and medical help. The victim is alive today due to the heroic actions of firefighter Martin Murphy, and we're happy to award him the Brummer Medal. Martin Murphy, Tower Ladder 58, Engine 45, Battalion 1-8, the Vice Guys. Our next medal is the Frank W. Kreidel Medal, this year being awarded to firefighter Cody Baker of Hook and Ladder 59, the Blue Devils. Where on the afternoon of November 24, 2013, Hook and Ladder 59 responded first due to a fire on West Tremont Avenue in the Morris Heights section of the Bronx. Arriving on the second floor, firefighter Baker quickly located the fire apartment and forced entry. With zero visibility and heavy smoke conditions, firefighter Baker started searching the right side of the apartment. After searching several rooms, he located an unconscious male adult laying in a back bedroom. While the can man attempted to hold the fire in check, firefighter Baker performed this rescue without the protection of a hose line. And for his act of bravery, we award firefighter Cody Baker the Frank W. Kreidel Medal, Hook and Ladder 59, Engine 43, the Blue Devils. Our next medal, the Emerald Society Medal, being awarded this year, firefighter Vincent Niesi, Tower Ladder 111, the Nut House Truck. We're on the morning of August 29, 2013, in a cowardly act. Gasoline was poured on the interior stairs of a building on Chauncey Street in the Bushwick section of Brooklyn. Immediately, Tower Ladder 111 was on the way. On arrival, heavy fire consumed the public stairs with multiple victims trapped inside. Firefighter Nisi proceeded in 111's bucket to the top floor, where he entered the window to begin his search. 60 feet from the front window, he found an unconscious teenager. Hearing moaning further in the apartment, he found 3 additional victims. Calling for assistance, he quickly removed the victims towards the window as interior forces extinguished the fire. Firefighter Nisi displayed capability and bravery in overcoming the challenges presented at this operation, and his courage saved 4 lives. For this, we proudly award him the Emerald Society Medal. Firefighter Vincent Nisi, Tower Ladder 111, Engine 214, the Nut House. Our next medal, the Chief Wesley Williams Medal, being awarded to firefighter Michael Perrone, Hook and Ladder 175, the East New York Trucking Company. We're in the early morning hours of February 17, 2013. 175 responded to a working fire on Linwood Street in the East New York section of Brooklyn. Arriving first due, they found fire in a basement apartment. Forcing entry, firefighter Perrone began his search, passing a burning mattress as he made his way to the rear of the apartment. 40 feet into the apartment, firefighter Perrone found an unconscious male in a back bedroom. With the assistance of firefighter Greg Jackman, he was able to quickly remove the victim out of a rear entrance while engine 332 began the fire attack. For his act of bravery in saving a life without the protection of a hose line, we proudly bestow the Chief Wesley Williams Medal on firefighter Michael Perrone, Hook and Ladder 175, the East New York Trucking Company. 175, 332. Our next medal is the Holy Name Society Medal of Brooklyn, Queens. This year being awarded to firefighter Louis Nicolosi, Hook and Ladder 125, the greatest show on earth. We're in the early morning hours of April 1st, 2013. 125 responded second due to a fire in a 2-story wood frame dwelling on 65th Avenue in the Utopia section of Queens. On arrival, firefighter Nicolosi, the outside vent firefighter, observed the victim out the rear window. Ascending a 24-foot portable ladder, he entered the window, removed a young boy, and passed him off to firefighter Noel Curry. Returning back into the room, firefighter Nicolosi found 3 additional victims on the floor. He removed the other young victim to the ladder again, and then removed an adult from the interior as engine 299 knocked down the fire. For his amazing act of bravery in saving 4 lives, we award the Holy Name Society Medal, Brooklyn and Queens, to firefighter Louis Nicolosi, ladder 125, engine 315, the greatest show on earth. Somewhere. Our next medal, the Chief James Scullion Medal, is being awarded to EMT Gene Altador, EMS Battalion 16 in Harlem. Where on June 10, 2013, EMTs Gene Altador and Brendan Hernandez had treated and transported an emotionally disturbed person to Harlem Hospital with an NYPD escort. Once at the hospital, EMT Altador and the NYPD officers escorted the patient inside. Seconds later, the patient began wrestling with officers and was able to get one officer's gun and shoot the officer. EMT Altador joined in what was now a life and death struggle. EMT Altador, who is now joined by his partner, was successful in wresting the firearm from the disturbed person. EMT Altador put his life in jeopardy, protecting 2 NYPD officers and civilians in the emergency room. For his act of bravery, we are proud to award him the Chief James Scullion Medal, EMT Gene Altador, Battalion 16, Harlem. Our next medal, the Hispanic Society Medal, this year being awarded to Lieutenant George Torres of Rescue Company Number 4. Where on the afternoon of September 12, 2013, Rescue 4 responded to a working fire on Forley Street in the Elmhurst section of Queens. Upon arrival, heavy fire consumed the basement of this 2-story PD. With reports of a person trapped, Lieutenant Torres quickly split his company in 2 and followed a hand line into the burning basement. With high heat and 0 visibility, Lieutenant Torres pushed himself towards the rear of the building where he found an unconscious male. He began removing the victim, suffering an injury in the process. With his fellow members, Lieutenant Torres removed the victim to the street when he initiated CPR. For his heroic action at personal risk, the victim survived, and we proudly award Lieutenant George Torres the Hispanic Society Medal. George Torres, Rescue Company Number 4, 292 engine. Let's hear it. Our next medal, the Captain Dennis W. Lane Memorial Medal, this year being awarded to firefighter Brian Naylor, hook and ladder 147, the pride of Flatbush. Where just after the start of the night tour on March 7, 2013, hook and ladder 147 responded first due to a fire in a PD on Dorchester Road in the Flatbush section of Brooklyn. Upon arrival, they were confronted with a heavy fire condition on the first floor with a woman reported trapped on the second floor. As the second truck had not yet arrived, firefighter Naylor proceeded to floor above to locate the woman. As he searched under high heat and heavy smoke conditions, he located an elderly grandmother in the rear of the apartment. Firefighter Naylor dragged the woman to the stairs and then carried her to the street below and awaiting EMS personnel. For his act of bravery, we award the Captain Dennis W. Lane Memorial Medal to firefighter Brian Naylor, hook and ladder 147, engine 281, the pride of Flatbush. Our next medal is the Uniform Fire Officers Association Medal, this year being awarded to Captain Paul Miller, ladder 142, Blazing Saddles. At the time, working in engine 286, Myrtle Turtles. where in the early morning hours of January 25th, Engine 286 responded to a reported house fire on 67th Place in the Glendale section of Queens. On arrival, they were confronted with heavy fire showing from the second floor window, with a woman reporting her elderly father trapped inside. Captain Miller instructed his members to stretch a hand line as they proceeded to the second floor. Passing a living room engulfed in fire, he found the elderly man unconscious on the living room floor. With the closest fire hydrant inoperable and without the protection of a hose line, Captain Miller removed the victim to the stairs, where Tower Ladder 135 members removed him to the street. Captain Miller then supervised the members of 286 in extinguishing the fire. For his heroic act of bravery, we present the Uniformed Fire Officers Association Medal, Captain Paul Miller, Tower Ladder 142, Engine 285, 135 and 286, Blazing Saddles, Myrtle Turtles. Let's hear it. Our next medal, the Dr. Albert A. Sinelli Medal, this year being awarded to firefighter Nathan Evans, Hook and Ladder 43, El Barrio's bravest. Where on the morning of November 8, 2013, 43 truck responded to a reported building fire at 1760 Lexington Avenue in the Spanish Harlem section of Manhattan. On arrival, they were confronted with a fire on the 8th floor of an 18-story fireproof MD with reports of children trapped. Upon reaching the fire floor, Ladder 43 was confronted with high heat and smoke in the public hall. Firefighter Evans found a fire apartment and after passing a growing fire made his way to the rear where he found an unconscious female. Using all his strength, he was able to remove the victim to the hallway and to the street below. We turned the victim over to EMS personnel. Several lives were saved at this operation, and for his heroic action at personal risk, we award firefighter Nathan Evans the Dr. Albert A. Sinelli Medal, Hook and Ladder 43, Engine 53, Abadio's bravest. Our next medal is the Fire Chiefs Association Medal, being awarded to firefighter Christopher Slutman, Tower Ladder 17, the Green Berets. Where just past midnight on July 23rd, Tower Ladder 17 responding to a reported building fire on Morrissey Avenue in the Mott Haven section of the Bronx. On arrival, fire was reported on the 6th floor of this 13-story high-rise MD. Forcing their way into apartment 7E, firefighter Slutman observed heavy fire in the living room. As firefighter Lemire tried to hold the fire at bay with the extinguisher, firefighter Slutman passed the fire and found an unconscious woman in a rear bedroom. He swiftly removed the woman from the apartment and down to the street as Engine 60 extinguished the fire. For his act of bravery, we award firefighter Christopher Slutman the Fire Chiefs Association Memorial Medal, Tower Ladder 17, Engine 60, Battalion 1-4, the Green Berets. Our next medal, the Fire Marshal Benevolent Association Medal, being awarded to Captain, now Battalion Chief, Robert Ford, Tower Ladder 121, best on the beach. Where in the early morning hours of January 16, 2013, 121 responded to a reported building fire on Beach 66th Street in the Far Rockaway section of Queens. Upon arrival, Captain Ford was confronted with heavy fire on the second floor of a two-story wood frame structure. With his extinguisher firefighter trying to hold back the fire, Captain Ford pushed towards the rear of the apartment where he found an unconscious male in a rear bedroom. With the assistance of firefighter Brian Desart, Captain Ford removed the victim to the stairs, where firefighter Desart removed him to the street. Captain Ford then continued to supervise the rest of the search for additional victims. For his act of bravery, the Fire Marshal's Benevolent Association Medal is presented to Battalion Chief Robert Ford, Tower Ladder 121, Engine 265, Battalion 47, the best on the beach. Our next award, the Community Mayor's Lieutenant Robert Ardolny Medal, being awarded to firefighter Daniel Barron, Rescue Company number 5, Blue Thunder. Where on the morning of July 11, 2013, Rescue 5 responded to a reported construction worker who had fallen in a shaft of a courthouse under construction on Central Avenue in the Stapleton section of Staten Island. This worker had fallen 24 feet from the 6th floor, where he landed on ventilation duct between the 4th and the 5th floor. Firefighter Barron entered a breached wall and was lowered to the seriously injured worker. After securing the worker's harness to a substantial object, he began patient care and packaged the victim before the victim was lowered to a second breached wall on the 4th floor. For his act of bravery and determination in effecting this rescue 50 feet above the ground, we are proud to award the Community Mayor's Lieutenant Robert R. Dolney Medal to firefighter Daniel Barron, Rescue Company 5, Engine 160, Division 8, Blue Thunder. Our next award, we have 3 recipients for the Lieutenant Kirby McElhern Medal. It's being awarded this year to Dr. David Ben Eli, Dr. Douglas Isaacs, and paramedic Japheth Gagan. When EMTs, paramedics, and physicians start their tour, one never knows where the day will bring them. On March 19, 2013, paramedic Gagan and doctors Ben Ali and Isaacs were brought together to work as a team 75 feet below 2nd Avenue. Teamwork proved to be the key to achieving a positive outcome on an assignment that very easily could have ended tragically. In the late evening hours, EMS received a call for a worker trapped in the 2nd Avenue subway line excavation site. He was trapped chest deep in the mud. As the FDNY began to arrive on scene, this assignment quickly escalated, prompting the response of a paramedic ambulance and EMS physicians to respond. Once at the location, the doctors and paramedic Gagan were advised to head down into the tunnel to assist with the rescue efforts. The challenge for the responders began even before they could reach the patient. After scaling slippery catwalks and ladders, the team of 3 found themselves in a pool of bull's liver, a fine-grained mixture of inorganic silt or clay soil and water with low permeability and low plasticity. The tunnel was dark and filled with thick, muddy water, and an immense amount of water was also falling from the pipes above. This demanded great physical effort just to take a few steps ahead in a muck. Doctors Ben Ali and Isaacs quickly made contact with the Hashtag Lieutenant, Raphael Goyeneche, who already had begun patient care. The doctors initiated medical treatment on the victim. Members took turns holding the patient up to prevent him from drowning while a safe, dry area was established. The patient was stuck in the cold, wet mud for more than 3 hours. The doctors formed a plan of care. The worst-case scenario included a possible failed amputation and removed the patient quickly if his condition deteriorated. Paramedic Gagan also made contact with the Hashtag Lieutenant, who was at the patient's side, and began setting up IV medication and warming blankets. Communications were poor to the noise emanating from a Conrad vac truck, and forcing paramedic Gagan to continuously fight the mud, getting himself to an area where he could communicate face-to-face via hand signals with the medical branch director. More than 4 hours had elapsed before the patient was freed from the grips of the quicksand like mud. The patient's successful outcome was due to the commitment of each member made to work together with one goal of freeing this man in stable condition. All this was done while each member continually struggled to stay on their own 2 feet in the thick mud. For their dedication to the welfare of this patient, working in extraordinary conditions and demonstrating great initiative and improvisation skills, the FDNY presents Dr. David Ben Ali, Douglas Isaacs, and paramedic Japheth Gagan with the Lieutenant Kirby McElhern Medal. Let's give him a hand. Our next medal, the Battalion Chief Frank T. Telemundo Medal, is being awarded to Captain Frederick Fuchs, Engine 306, the Bayside Bulls. Where in the early morning hours of March 11, 2013, 306 responded to a Class 3 automatic alarm with ladder 164 on 223rd Street in the Bayside section of Queens. Upon arrival at this location, a man reported that there was a fire on the 2nd floor and his father was trapped inside. Captain Fuchs proceeded to the 2nd floor where he found fire engulfing the bedroom. After unsuccessfully finding the father, he searched the bathroom and located the unconscious victim. As the fire continued to spread, Captain Fuchs dragged the victim out of the apartment with the assistance of firefighter Steve Bonavita. After the victim was turned over to medical personnel, Captain Fuchs continued to supervise Engine 306's extinguishment of the fire. we are proud to award the Battalion Chief Frank T. Tolomundo Award to Captain Frederick Fuchs, Engine 306, the Bayside Bulls. Our next medal, the Dr. John F. Connell Medal, being awarded this year, Lieutenant Robert Greer, hook and ladder 38, Belmont's bravest, working in 39 truck. In the early morning hours of June 1st, 2013, hook and ladder 39 responded to a reported building fire on East 227th Street in the Williamsburg section of the Bronx. Upon arrival, they found heavy fire in a 2.5-story wood frame building with a woman observed in the attic window. As Lieutenant Greer and Ladder 39's inside team made it to the second floor, fire was lapping out of a bedroom, blocking the stairs to the attic. Lieutenant Greer ordered his cameraman to hit the fire as he ascended the attic stairs. Under high heat and heavy smoke conditions, he found a female unconscious in a front bedroom. Using his body as a shield, he removed her down the interior stairs and out of the building to EMS personnel. For his act of bravery in saving a life, Lieutenant Robert Greer is awarded the Dr. John F. Connell Medal. Robert Greer, Ladder 38, Engine 88, Ladder 39, Engine 63, Battalion 15, the Bronx. Our next medal is the Fire Bell Club Medal, this year being awarded to firefighter Ryan O'Neill, Tower Ladder 50, the Cuckoo's Nest. Where in the early morning hours of July 12, 2013, 50 truck responded to a reported house fire on Swinton Avenue in the Throgs Neck section of the Bronx. On arrival, they were met with heavy fire on the first floor of a 2-story PD. Firefighter O'Neill, the Irons firefighter, forced the front door where they met with high heat and heavy smoke. Crawling past the burning living room, he found an unconscious adult male in the hallway some 40 feet inside the apartment. Using all his strength, firefighter O'Neill removed the victim out of the fire apartment into the hands of EMS personnel. For his tremendous act of bravery, we proudly bestow the Fire Bell Club Medal on firefighter Ryan O'Neill, Tower Ladder 50, Engine 89, the Cuckoo's Nest. We have 4 recipients for our next medal. The Deputy Commissioner Christine R. Godek Medal, being awarded this year to the Manhattan Serial Arson Task Force, Supervising Fire Marshal Thomas Kane, Supervising Fire Marshal Eric Hansen, Fire Marshal Michael Kavanaugh, Fire Marshal Philip Marr, Manhattan Serial Arson Task Force. Where in the early morning hours of September 8, 2013, a fire was reported in a Midtown hotel on 10th Avenue. Units on arrival found panicked occupants fleeing into the lobby from the upper floors. 2 separate fires had been set and units fought both blazes while removing occupants. The Bureau of Fire Investigation sent Fire Marshals Philip Marr and Andre Pachos, as well as Supervising Fire Marshal Eric Hansen, to the scene. A forensics examination determined both fires were the result of arson and set in a manner to create the greatest amount of chaos. A major case investigation was initiated. A multi-layered investigation was organized, centered on motive with a focus on creative methods of developing leads and sources of information. The investigation determined that previous fires were set at the hotel going back to 2011. There were also several earlier fires at a second hotel. A serial arsonist was on the loose. Using NCIS-type methods and background checks, a key suspect was identified who happened to be the security chief at the hotel. The overwhelming amount of evidence that was developed against the chief of security led to a full confession and an indictment by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. This is a significant investigation brought to a successful conclusion by our Bureau of Fire Investigation. It is for this reason the Manhattan Serial Arson Task Force members are awarded the Deputy Commissioner Christine R. Godek Medal, Supervising Fire Marshal Tom Kane, Supervising Fire Marshal Eric Hansen, Firefighter Fire Marshal Michael Kavanaugh, Fire Marshal Philip Marr. Let's give him a hand. Our unsung heroes at the Bureau of Fire Investigation. Determining cause and origin. You're sticking pins in me. Let's give one more hand. Our Bureau of Fire Investigation, the Manhattan Serial Arson Task Force. Our next medal, the firefighter Kevin C. Kane Medal, being awarded to firefighter John Colon, hook and ladder 59. Shortly after the start of the day on December 11, 2013, 59 truck responded first due to reported fire on Nelson Avenue in the Morris Heights section of the Bronx. On arrival, smoke filled the street and people were self-evacuating the 6-story MD. Ladder 59's inside team found the fire apartment on the second floor where firefighter Colon forced entry. With the heat driving him to his stomach, firefighter Colon passed the fire and found an unconscious victim in the living room. As the heat became unbearable, firefighter Colon removed the victim from the fire apartment to the safety of the street awaiting medical help. For his act of selfless bravery, the firefighter Kevin C. Kane Medal is being awarded to firefighter John Colon, hook and ladder 59, engine 43, the Blue Devils. Our next medal is the probationary firefighter Thomas A. Wiley Medal, this year being awarded to probationary firefighter Ryan Blackwell, Engine 62, the Gun Hill Gang. Where in the early morning hours of September 14, 2013, 32 truck responded to a reported building fire on Colden Avenue in the Williamsburg section of the Bronx. On arrival, fire was observed out several fifth-floor windows. Probationary firefighter Blackwell, working in 32, quickly made his way to the fire apartment and began a search for life. After attempting to contain the fire with his extinguisher, he made his way to a rear bedroom where he found an unconscious adult woman. Firefighter Blackwell dragged the woman out of the apartment to other members who began patient care. For his act of bravery and passing fire twice and saving a life, we proudly bestow the probationary firefighter Thomas A. Wiley Medal to firefighter Ryan Blackwell, Engine Company 62, Ladder 32, the Gun Hill Gang. Dad watching proudly from above, no doubt. Our next medal, the Captain John J. Drennan Memorial Medal, this year being awarded to Captain Raymond J. Farrell Jr., hook and ladder 43, El Barrio's bravest. Where on the morning of November 8, 2013, ladder 43 responded first due to a reported building fire on Lexington Avenue in the Spanish Harlem section of Manhattan. On arrival, they were confronted with a fire on the 8th floor of an 18-story fireproof MD with reports of children trapped. Upon searching the fire floor, Captain Farrell was confronted with high heat and smoke in a public hallway. Supervising the search for life, Captain Farrell and his entire team entered the apartment. During his search of a bedroom, he located an unconscious adult male. He quickly removed the victim to the floor below the fire and passed him off to medical personnel. He quickly returned to the apartment to resume his supervisory duties. Numerous lives were saved by 43 truck at this fire, and we proudly award Captain Raymond Farrell the Captain John J. Drennan Memorial Medal, Ray Farrell, hook and ladder 43, engine 53, Albadio's bravest. Our next medal, the Jack Pinchik Medal, being awarded to paramedics Carlos Mueller and David Villarreal, Station 15 in the North Bronx. We're on the afternoon of February 11, 2013. Paramedics Carlos Mueller and David Villarreal will leave in Montefiore Hospital after transporting a patient and were immediately flagged down by a group of people on East 231st Street, notifying them of a building fire in a two-story private dwelling. Paramedic Mueller notified their dispatcher of the fire, and after donning their protective gear, entered the building and searched for victims. They were notified that an elderly woman was trapped on the second floor and confined to her bed. In a toxic environment and now with the protection of any self-contained breathing devices, paramedics Mueller and Villarreal found the woman and safely removed her to the ambulance, where they began treatment and transported her to the hospital. For their quick action and bravery in saving a life, we proudly award paramedics Carlos Mueller and David Villarreal the Jack Pinchik Medal. Carlos Mueller, David Villarreal, Station 15 in the North Bronx. Let's hear it for them. Job well done. Him again. Our last medal for individual bravery is the Walter Scott Medal, being awarded to, once again, firefighter Vincent Masaccio, hook and ladder 32, the Gun Hill Gang. We're in the early morning hours of September 14, 2013. 32 trucks responded to a multiple dwelling fire on Colden Avenue in the Williamsburg section of the Bronx. Upon arrival, members were confronted with a fire in a fifth-floor apartment. Heavy smoke and high heat were pushing through the apartment, and firefighter Masaccio began his search for victims. As he crawled past the burning kitchen, he found an unconscious victim in the back bedroom. Firefighter Masaccio, using all his strength and his body as a shield, removed the woman from the fire apartment into the safety of the street. For his act of bravery, firefighter Vincent Masaccio was awarded the Walter Scott Medal. The Walter Scott Medal. Vincent Masaccio, hook and ladder 32, engine 62, the Gun Hill Gang. Let's hear it. Yeah. Okay. Our next three medals are unit medals. Our first one is the Lieutenant James Curran New York Firefighters Burn Center Foundation Medal. This year being awarded to Engine Company 210 Engine, Fort Greens Bravest. Lieutenant Christopher Corsi, Firefighter John Delgado, Firefighter Terry LaFontante, Firefighter Sean Mahoney, Firefighter James Smith. Also joining us, little Colin Flood, the son of firefighter Kevin Flood of 210, who's going to get a special Burn Center medal for bravery. In the early morning hours of February 15, 2013, Engine 210 responded for a reported structural fire on the top floor of 200 Willoughby Avenue in the borough of Brooklyn. The six-story, 80 by 100 heavy timber building was on the campus of Pratt Institute. This city landmark was built in 1879. Arriving first due, Engine 210 was confronted with a heavy fire on the top floor showing from multiple windows. Firefighter Mahoney, the chauffeur, proceeded to take a hydrant and stretch a 3.5-inch hose line to supply the building's standpipe. Along with 211 chauffeur, a second 3.5-inch hose line supplied the first floor Siamese, allowing an adequate water supply. At the same time, firefighters LaFontante, Smith, and Delgado, under Lieutenant Corsi's supervision, hooked up on the floor below the fire and flaked out their line. Displaying great teamwork, Engine 210 initiated the fire attack, which featured cubicles and lockers containing paints and other combustible materials. With roof boards collapsing from the advanced fire, the members rotated the nozzle position and kept a steady push on the fire, allowing backup lines to assist them. Engine 210's aggressive effort allowed the fire to be extinguished by an interior attack and without defensive tactics of a tower ladder operation, avoiding greater damage to this historic building, which resulted in the transmission of 4 alarms. The James Curran New York Firefighters Burn Center Foundation Medal, Engine 210, Fort Greens Bravest. Lieutenant Chris Corsi, Firefighter John Delgado, Firefighter Terry LaFontante, Firefighter Sean Mahoney, Firefighter James Smith. Job well done, 210. And of course, little Colin Flood. Engine, Fort Greens Bravest, Carlton Avenue. Our next medal, the firefighter Thomas R. L. Sassa Medal, this year being awarded to Rescue Company number 3. Captain James Elson, firefighter Robert Athanas, firefighter Brian Brown, firefighter Daniel Foley, firefighter James Hodges II, and firefighter Paul Patsos. And on Sunday morning, December 1st, 2013, the Spuyten-Duyvil Metro North Station became the scene of one of the worst railroad tragedies in New York history. Numerous calls were received for a train crash and derailment with people trapped. On arrival, Rescue Company number 3 and Captain Elson was confronted with a southbound train that derailed and was thrown across several hundred feet of train track. After addressing access issues, Rescue 3 split into 3 two-man teams to perform a casualty and hazard assessment. All members operated in a simple triage and rapid treatment mode, allowing patients to be grouped, maximizing resource capabilities. In each car, the members of Rescue 3 were met with seriously injured victims requiring immediate treatment. After treating and removing viable victims, the members of Rescue 3 prepared a tool cache to remove 2 deceased victims. mindful of the train's stability and the major investigation that would follow. This task was performed by hand. Rescue Company 3 operated at this tragedy that ultimately claimed 4 lives for more than 5 hours. They assisted the numerous injured passengers, secured the train cars, and made safe a very dangerous scene for civilians and fellow responders. Their training, expertise, and professionalism were noted by all on the scene. It is with great honor that Rescue Company Number 3 is awarded the Firefighter Thomas R. Elsasser Memorial Medal. Rescue Company Number 3, Captain James Elson, Firefighter Bobby Athanas, Firefighter Brian Brown, Firefighter Daniel Foley, Firefighter James Hodges, and Firefighter Paul Patzos, Rescue 3. One more time, ladies and gentlemen. Rescue Company Number 3, Big Blue, up in the Bronx. Ladies and gentlemen, our final medal, the World Trade Center Memorial Medal, this year being awarded to Hook and Ladder 176, the Tin House Truck. Lieutenant George W. Guinan, the 5th, Firefighter Michael Batchick, Firefighter Joseph Fisher, Firefighter Aaron Gardner, Firefighter Daniel Salfrank, Firefighter Troy Taldone, 176. On the morning of August 29, 2013, in a cowardly act, the interior stairs of a multiple dwelling on Chauncey Street in the Bushwick section of Brooklyn was set on fire, trapping numerous people above. Ladder 176 arrived first to and was confronted with trapped civilians on all floors. Initiating a multi-tiered attack, they began their search and rescue mission. Lieutenant Guinan, with his inside team of firefighters, Gardner and Taldone, followed the first 2 engine hand line to the 2nd floor, where they found several victims and removed them from the building. Firefighter Fisher, the chauffeur, raised the aerial to the top floor, where he assisted a female victim back on the safety of the aerial ladder. He then returned to the top floor to continue the search. Firefighter Bacek, the OVM, removed multiple victims from the rear, and Firefighter Salfrank prepared for an imminent roof rescue operation. Hook and Ladder 176's simultaneous removal rescue operations included the ladder chauffeur, officer, irons team, roof, and OVM. Their exemplary actions undoubtedly saved multiple lives. 4 civilians were critically injured at this fire, but are alive today. The outstanding cooperative effort of the unit displayed at this operation surely makes them worthy of the World Trade Center Memorial Medal. Hook and Ladder 176, Engine 233, the Tin House Truck. Let's hear it. 176 truck, Lieutenant George Guinan, Firefighter Mike Bachek, Joseph Fisher, Aaron Garner, Danny Salfrank, and Troy Taldone. The Tin House. The Tin House truck, 176, 233, 25 Rockaway Avenue. Let's hear it. Great job. I'll tell you, how about a nice hand for our medal recipients? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm now going to ask Fire Commissioner Cassano to return to the stage and Chief of Department Gilduff to step to the base of the podium. We will now bring back little Colin Flood and the Flood family. Colin's been fighting a long, hard battle of his own that makes him worthy of being called the bravest. We will now honor his bravery and courage as Commissioner Cassano appoints him as an honorary firefighter.
I state your name. Having been appointed to the rank of honorary firefighter.
Rank of firefighter.
What? I knew it.
In the Fire Department of the City of New York.
And the fire department of City, New York.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I can't.
That's good. Support the Constitution. And the Constitution of the State of New York. We make him an honorary firefighter, Colin Flood. Let's hear it for Colin, our newest honorary firefighter.
Honorary firefighter Colin Flood, 210 engine, Fort Green's bravest. That's it. Colin Flood, 210 Engine, Fort Greens Bravest, honorary firefighter. Way to go, Colin. Ladies and gentlemen, will everyone please remain standing for the benediction by Fire Department Chaplain, Monsignor Mark Falaccioni.
Detail, uncover.
Lord God, protector of your people, as we conclude this rousing ceremony, we thank you, by whom all courage is sustained, for the contributions which our fire and EMS personnel make to the communities which they serve so valiantly and so faithfully in this great city. We thank you especially for your presence here today and for the inspiration you gave these department members in their heroic acts of bravery. May the deeds we commemorate this day remind us of what a great price our safety has been achieved. Bless our medal winners and their families and their associates. May their commitment and families and their associates always live through that dedication and be inspired by it. We ask this in your loving name, amen.
Detail, recover.
Thanks.
Thank you, Monsignor Falaccioni. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Mayor de Blasio, Fire Commissioner Cassano, Chief of Department Kilduff, and other extinguished members of the executive staff, thank you for joining us at today's Medal Day ceremonies. Congratulations to our recipients. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Medal winners, please stay in your position for a photo with the Mayor, Commissioner, Chief of Department.
Promotees, medal recipients, please stand by for a photo.